I can only imagine the challenges that a brand like Royal Enfield needs to deal with as they go about their R&D with bikes. With the oldest motorcycle brand still in operation, their thing is maintaining a look, an era so to speak, while still being relevant to the here and now. On one hand, it's okay on the design part, we keep it classic looking, Royal Enfield has been doing that forever, easy peasy, done. No need to stress brain cells in developing or furthering robotic looking bikes. On the other hand though, how do we infuse modern day amenities with our classic bikes without losing what we stand for? Enter the Royal Enfield Meteor 350.
She thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's out back counting
I actually didn't know what to expect when I was sent to Milwaukee for the global launch of the Meteor 350. I mean, clearly in the recent years, Royal Enfield already went forward with their indestructible Himalayan. And the release of the 650 Parallel Twins.
I don't know what I'm hanging out for in the south side of the North Star Bar. I could be anywhere I want to, but I always end up.
So what's next for them? What did the Meteor 350 have to offer? Quite a lot? We'll see. The Meteor 350 essentially sports a cruiser stance. It has a very 80s cruiser pose, powered by a newly engineered engine at 349 cc's. Single overhead cam here with the familiar Enfield long stroke. It is fuel injected, horsepower is still a usable 20.2 bhp at 6,100 rpm, and as expected, it's got a lot of decent bottom end torque. Gearing gives us 5 speeds, although I wish it could go up to 6 with maybe shorter ratios for a change. Maybe Royal Enfield can consider this in the future. Braking has 2-channel ABS. Thank you very much. Clearance is low at 170 mm. The pipe is also on the low, so expect it to scrape when you are banking hard. Wheels are at 17s at the rear and 19s out front. Very stable. The chassis is better and improved. It's stiffer and stronger, adding more points on stability in both the straights and corners compared to its older designs. And all that did not deviate from the comforts of a cruiser position. The Meteor 350 also steps into modern-day relevance with a Tripper Navigator. Powered by Google Apps and the Royal Enfield app, this connects your phone to the bike via Bluetooth. It's got a straight-up and practical navigation system. It's simple and intuitive. Yes, there's a USB port. Now I can feel the eyebrows of purists rise up to the heavens as I mention these technological advances. It's the way it is, folks. Brands, even Royal Enfield, will keep up with the times. It's called moving forward. Just like that ex with 3 kids that's still in your mind after 10 years, man, move forward. Colors come in at Fireball Yellow, Fireball Red, Stellar Black, Stellar Red, Stellar Blue, Supernova Brown, and Supernova Blue. All Celestial-driven names because, yes, you guessed it, the bike is called the Meteor 350. Might as well name the colors from stuff from out of space as well. Tank can carry 15 liters and my fuel consumption is 20.457 kpl. That is in all-out wall-wall mode with custom times. Acceleration with my body weight at 168 pounds. Enfields can pull you back, but don't expect race bike torque, of course.
Royal Enfield Meteor 350. Now, I can't say that I've seen a really bad Enfield looks-wise. I mean, they always look good, right? Royal Enfield always looks good. In fact, you know what? I've owned two. I had a chrome black classic 500, and then I did end up with the first yellow Royal Enfield Continental GT in the Philippines. This was like 8-7 years ago, something like that. In fact, the only reason why I didn't go out and buy a Himalayan or the Interceptor is because of Makina. I mean, take a look at my garage, right? There's just so many bikes here all the time. So I ended up not being able to get my own bike anymore, because if I buy a bike, it's just going to end up not being used. So that's why. But otherwise, I would have probably gone through the entire line of Royal Enfield, because it's a good value. You got a lot of heritage with Royal Enfield. You got a lot of things going on for them. I mean, what, 100 years old? It's available all over the world, and you know, it's a solid brand. Now, they recently released the Meteor 350. Now, let's get down to it. So this new 350cc engine now has a balancer shaft. So the execution is now smoother. And again, like with the other Enfields, this is a long stroke engine, and it's got that signature exhaust note, that thumpa 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 thumpa. The shifting of the gears are also actually quite the improvement from what I experienced before. And this whole thing has a 3-year warranty, which is great, or 10,000 kilometers, whatever comes first. So you are at 70-65 mm for your seat height, so that's, you know, friendly. Practically everybody can ride this. In terms of paint job and all of that, I think Royal Enfield, they kind of perfected how they paint motorcycles. I mean, with the two bikes that I did experience before, and what I appreciate about what they have here in terms of everything is beefy, solid. Like this lever is, look at how big that thing is, right? I like the grip. It's very classic looking, very plain, but solid and nice and thick, and it has a good grip. I like it how it's nice and fatter in the middle, which is complementing your palm. Chrome bar ends over here. This is pretty much on the regular side, but this is quirky. I like this. Handlebars are also okay, but good switches. The casing is okay and normal. As far as the mirrors, I'm not too honky-dory with this. Correct me if I'm wrong. The mirror of the GT Continental, now that's really nice. This is thinner, if my memory serves me right. So yeah, I would probably change this. I am also digging this little switch over here. So this is your kill switch. If you turn the thing on, checking if we are in neutral. We are not on neutral. Let's put ourselves on neutral so we can fire this thing up. So if you switch it on over here, your kill switch is on. That's the fuel pump, and start to the left. And that is the very familiar Royal Enfield sound. Give it a rev. That's how it sounds. Very Enfield. It's a thumper. So let's take a look at the lights. Similarly, this is in red, this is in black. If you want to turn on the lights, like so, those are your lights. It's not LED. However, you've got a ring light over here that is LED. Nice. But the one in the middle is your regular light. Okay, so let's take a look at the gauge here really quick. Quite familiar with Royal Enfield gauges, and this is a new gauge. So they're incorporating a lot of the old and new. I mean, clearly you see the classic analog part and the digital part. Now, this switch over here is what controls the gauge. So pressing that, we are now looking at the odometer. We are at 231.2 kilometers, and you got your gear. You also got your fuel gauge, which is awesome, which is not found in other Enfields. You got your clock, odometer, trip meter. Of course, your turn signals, low fuel indicator. You got your battery to check for your charge, echo indicator, gear indicator. So trip A, trip B. So you got trip F as well. So trip F, when you're low on fuel, it tells you how many kilometers you have left before you gotta fuel up again. Basically, that's what it is. So it's a nifty reminder. Syempre, diba? You're riding out there, you're having fun, and you forget, wala pala akong gas. It's got a service reminder as well. So a little wrench will come up when you need to get this thing serviced. So you got a lot of these modern conveniences in a classic looking bike, and I appreciate that. In terms of everything else that we got here, this is plastic, this is plastic. Plastic. As a cruiser bike, they put mags. So in terms of the detail, good solid quality for the grab bar. So for your partner in life, in terms of the seats, pretty decent, very comfortable. A lot of play here, as you can see. for the seats. And your pillion will have a mini backrest. So this is typical Enfield. Everything is Enfield. Got nice detail over here also. Hey, not bad, huh? Welds are dead on, spot on, good welds. In fact, the finish of the frame, this is not how it looked with my old Enfields before. This is actually a better finish now. A lot has changed in the past 7 years. I like the fact that this is matte black. It's got a good look to it. The other Enfields, of course, you can see the metal. This is nice still. So yeah, nice detail on that. I remember the older Enfields did not have this, so they improved on that too. And of course, to add to stability, 119s in the front. And at the rear, what we have are 17s, specifically 140/70/17s. So you got disc brakes at the rear, disc brakes at the front, and it is ABS. Times have changed indeed. ABS. So that's just making me really, really happy right now.
Going about town and for long stretches, the comfort becomes apparent. I've owned a couple of Enfields in the past, and the familiar tank-like reliability and build comes back to me. I credit this to the stiffness of its chassis paired with its suspension tuning. It can feel big and heavy at times, but it's not a chore to handle.
Oh, nice touch there. Familiar, chugga wugga 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 of the Royal Enfield. Cruiser type setup, bobber, brakes, try the rear. Whew. The rear brakes went. Whew. Let's see if we can do that again. All rear brakes first. It's going book, book, book. Not really skidding, and you can feel the ABS working also. Maybe the damages are really down for you to feel the ABS really work like this. Okay, that's the rear. Let us try the front. Easy muna, up. Front. Okay. I felt it engage the ABS more. Still not working, but braking properly. Pick up the pace here a bit. Okay, now I feel the ABS working. Not bad. Pretty good stopping power. Okay, so an observation: you're slamming on the brakes in the front. It's gonna go whoosh, and then go. There's an initial release na mahaba. Now, let me just try it again. I don't know if it's just my grip or what. But yeah, some ABS systems behave differently. In my experience, with all the bikes that I've done, iba-iba. Just the front. Bit faster. Okay. Depends on the pressure. Gano'n mo patoto yung bigay. Pero maayos na mag-ABS na. Try both now. Ah, good stopping. Like what I say each and every episode, braking, do not rely on just the rear, do not rely on just the front, although you can in this particular bike rely on the front, but I would just use both because the stopping power at the rear is pretty good. Hey Pajero, no problem, you can stop. Yeah, this thing's gonna stop. While yung mga ibang bikes, wala kang marinig na skid, ito meron. The point is, you're not gonna skid and lose the bike under you. You're gonna stop. Yan. So medyo may mga mala action star na datingan yung marinig mo dito na may konting quick. And apart from that, yes, it's stopping properly. That's the Meteor working.
There is no perfect bike out there, and if I were to request one little thing, maybe Royal Enfield can experiment with gear ratios by making them shorter and by adding a 6th gear. I think that's something many will look forward to in the future. Another point of contention with this bike, especially for Luzon folks, is its access limitation to our highways, NLEX, SLEX, Skyway, etc. It's 50cc short of freeway freedom. Honestly, it's not the bike's fault, and they should already amend that outdated rule which has no scientific basis at all. 2021 na. Sige nga, bakit 400cc? Walang basihan. Palitan nyo na yung puta ng rule na yan. Talagang pahirap na yan sa mga nagmomotor eh. A thumper it still is. Royal Enfield singles, still going to the beat of its own tradition. The latest from Royal Enfield wears its lineage and heritage proudly, with modern perks without veering away from its roots. This, folks, is the Meteor 350. This is Zach saying ride safe, ride smart, and stay healthy. Ciao.
So ago, I don't remember when. That's when they say I lost my only friend. They said she died easy with broken heart disease as I listened to the cemetery tree.